and welcome to my channel. Well, here we've got some USA made knives. Now, this one that I got, the two knives that you see here have the same sheath. I pulled them out. They're the same. The knives will fit in them the same. But the boxes are different. This one came in a box. It's hard to get in here. But it came in a box like that. And then when it was shipped to the house, it was even bigger. This one says SP5 Bowie Sapphire knife with nylon sheath made in USA, March 22nd. Or March of 2022, not March 22nd. Alright, so even though they're made by the same company and have the same kind of handles and everything, there's a big difference between these two knives. That's the new one that I got, and this is the SP10. And right off the bat, and I'm using this just as a reference, as a guide. Oh, and this little thing that I bent right here, this will allow it to hook up to, besides hang off a shelf and stuff like that, you can also put it on the old style web belt. And if you take this out, let me go get it. I got the stone still in there. If you take that stone out, which is a pretty thin stone anyway, and you could still keep that stone somewhere else or replace it with a diamond rod or whatever, but this guy fits right in there, and it solves a couple of problems for you. One, you've got another knife, and two, this is 440A. You can get 440A razor sharp. It'll handle your little task. You can save that for this knife. It'll always be with you because it's right there in the pouch. It fits right in. Just push it down on that to snap. This is not about this knife right now, but I'm just saying I finally got the knife sharp enough with the convex edge to be a working edge, but it wasn't razor sharp, hair shaving sharp. Now we're talking about these knives. Now the difference between this finish, these two type of finishes, and that one is a zinc phosphate, which is kind of like parkerizing. It may actually be parkerizing, but this is more like a DLT, a diamond-like, or DLC, a diamond-like coating or something, because if it's a paint job, it's done really well. You know, I mean, it's like a really sticky paint job. It's not necessarily going to come off super easy, but I mean, it is a coating. You got to keep that in mind. This is a long blade on this guy. However, it weighs a lot less. Yeah, we got a 10-inch blade overall and a cutting edge of 9 inches. I mean, so you've got a long reach here with it, but you're not getting the weight. This knife right here feels like it's trying to be more a multi-purpose tool, like a chopper. It's very blade heavy, and you're going to pay for that weight. This one is like a half a pound more than that. I think I took photographs of the weight there. And it's sturdy. It's going to be able to do a little bit more stuff than this one. But when it comes down to it, this one's sturdy too. And the weight, the balance point, is more like what you would expect. Right there's the balance point of this one. On this guy, I don't know. It depends on the handle. Let's see how well they did this. Wow, it's almost the same. It's almost the same balance point. Look at that. It's forward heavy. I can throw this one with a half rotation throw and get it to stick almost every time. This one, look, they're the same length, but because this one weighs less, I don't know. I grabbed it like I normally do. It took me 3 times. It took me the third time to get it to stick the way I wanted it to stick. The first 2 I threw incorrectly, and with these I didn't practice either on any of these. You know, I always take out and film. That's what my last short was, basically, was me throwing that, and I have to keep it down to 15 seconds, so I couldn't show the first 2 where I missed. But I just said, you know, I put on the title, this is the 3rd throw, because I didn't want to make it look like every time I pick up a knife and throw it, it sticks, no matter what the practice. Yeah, I'd like to have that kind of skill, but you got to learn how each knife balances and throws. And even though, like I said, they look the same, and they seem to be balanced pretty much the same, this one's definitely heavier. And so it has something to do with your, you know, your muscles, I guess, when you're throwing. You know, with this one, I know it's heavier, so I'm going to throw it a little bit more. This one, maybe because it's lighter, I'm not giving it enough rotation. I don't know anyway. All I'm saying is, between the 2, this one is getting more into the realm of, sorry, bumping all this. But you're getting more into the realm of something like this. You know, a machete. It's a longer blade, it's a lighter blade. Now, a machete has a much thinner, you know, blade, and it's not going to wear out your hand as much. But between these 2, that's the way that comparison is starting to go, is that's more like a machete and everything. Now, these are more like tactical knives. If you're really, you know, going to be going hunting and stuff, you would have something more. This is still a Bowie knife, but this one's way, way much lighter. You know, so that's one. Or the Puma. Have you got a Puma in your pocket? You know, that's a Bowie knife, but it's getting more to like a fighting knife, you know. It's thick, but it's not ridiculously thick, you know. And you can do some chopping with it, but it's, you know, if you want to do chopping, get a hatchet or an axe or a machete, you know. And this is naturally feels like that's what you should do with it when you pick it up. I mean, it's blade heavy. It just wants to, the blade just wants to go down and chop, you know. And so it's natural for you to think that that's what this should do. But I think that's just a byproduct of an overly thick, you know, overly thick blade, because originally a Bowie knife was more closely like a kitchen knife, you know, like in Ontario. I don't have one lying around here, you know, but it'd be closer, it'd be much closer to something like this, you know, a long blade butcher knife. And why? There's no super mystery about it, you know. You grab what's at hand. And so if there weren't a lot of knife makers, you probably had something in your kitchen that you were cutting your meat up with. And that works. That's your first bushcraft knives a lot of times were kitchen knives, you know. And the first fighting knives were kitchen knives, butcher knives. And they evolved, you know. And this one, the Craton handle, you don't have to worry about leather. You know, you don't have to worry that you have the problem with the leather. Yes, you can treat leather, and if you treat your knife right, it's not going to let you down. But still, with this, you don't have to worry about water like you would, you know, or anything else like that. And then the coating. The coating on it also helps in the fact that you're not going to have to worry about corrosion as much, you know. I mean, it's still, I don't know, between these two, which one is better at corrosion resistance. I would say this one probably is, because I've seen this scrape off easily. I haven't sharpened this, you know. I mean, but really, if you're worried about corrosion resistance and everything, get a stainless steel. You know? I mean, you got a lot of choices. You got a lot of choices and stuff like this. So, if you're going to walk around in kind of a tactical-like situation, either one of these would be fine. Just remember, you're going to be paying a half a pound more for that weight. You will notice it. You will feel it, you know. If you want the length and the reach, you can get like a long Bowie knife type of thing, you know, with more mellow S-guard. But still functional, you know. It'll still. It comes down to really the length of the blade and the mass of the blade, you know. The thicker the spine, the more you're going to be able to do crazy stuff with it, you know. Things that are not really normally done with a knife, like dig with it like a shovel. It can be done. It has been done. I'm not saying it's not to be done, but you got more options with the bigger blade. That's the thing that also it is. It gives you more options as to what you can do. Whereas a smaller blade, you know, it's just like a car with a rev engine, you know, red line on it. At a certain point, you know, it can only go up so far, and then that's it. You go any further, and it's going to break. You got a good chance of it breaking, you know, so you better back off. Knives are the same way. They can only take so much. And don't always let thickness fool you. Sometimes the smaller knife, depending on the steel and the construction and everything, and the heat treatment, all that other crap, can take a lot more abuse than you would think looking at them. I haven't, like I said, haven't watched Joe X abuse knives, but he's got a couple of Ontarios I think he's destroyed, and most of them he snapped. Looks like it just like crystalline snap. They were just, I don't know what he's done to do it, but he snapped them right in half. So there you go. That's just my initial impression. Quick initial impression of this. I like this knife. I like the way it balances. It is a long knife. It is a long blade. They both have that long, you know, sheath in it. So if you wanted something a little more practical in confined spaces, like a vehicle or sitting down and everything, you'd be better off with a smaller length blade type of knife. You know, it's just gonna naturally be that way. It's gonna weigh less. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this stuff and my initial, you know, impressions and all that. And for this guy, like I said, I've got it to where it's very sharp. It's got a convex edge on it. It took quite a while, even with higher grit, to get this to a convex edge. I know it's only supposed to be to 50 to 55 Rockwell. It is carbon steel because it's putting out orange sparks and stuff, you know, but it took a while. And I would go up, you know, and I'd say, all right, that's cool. It's a kind of perfectionist in me also, you know, and like, I'll admit, I was originally trying to go for hair shaving sharp on this. And then after starting to think about it and doing stuff, I said, let me test it on something. And it just slides through paper, you know. There's a little bit of a drag here and there, but, you know, how much paper are you going to be cutting? I mean, that's just a test of thickness and stuff, you know. But then I tried on cardboard, and it cut cardboard very well. Let's cut some more. This is kind of thicker. It's not cardboard. It's thicker. But it leaves a fairly clean cut. And there's, like I said, it's not perfect. But, I mean, look at that. It can leave a clean cut. It just depends on how you're hitting that angle. If you're going with the, right there on the apex of the angle, it leaves a clean cut. But it won't cut hair. But that's all right. That's all right. You know, you can do a little bit of chopping with this. But if you want a chopper, you know, just carry a bigger blade. Carry the, you know, the SP10 and chop till your heart's, you know, delight. So there you go. That's my take on this knife. I blew my budget, or I didn't blow my budget. I spent my budget on knives on these two knives. I bought this Ontario and that Ontario. Both of them are made in USA. Both of them put food on American workers' tables. I will be able to sleep well at night knowing that I did not support a commie for mommy. Yeah, so there you go. I don't get too crazy. That's why I have my rants section for me to get crazy on the rants. Ooh, I mixed them up. I don't know which one is which. One of these I moved out. I think I moved this out on the new one. So you can adjust this spacer here on the Sheath. Let me put it in here. Because I was wearing it. Oh, and I found out you can do a double different type of carry. Even though it's not supposed to. It's not designed that way. If you do it like this, it loops through your belt, and that's usually the main way to carry it. But if you want this hilt to stand up a little bit higher, you can loop it through here. I know this is a molly attachment, but you can loop it through there, and it rides a little bit higher on your hip. You still have a huge, humongous, long thing sticking down, but so, however, there. Gotta put these guys back up. A naked blade is a dangerous blade. So there you go. There's some Ontarios for yo. And like I said, most of the time I carry them without that thing being snapped. But then if you're wearing like a t-shirt over this, with this being unsnapped like this, it prints more. It sticks out. It sticks out more on your hip. At least that one did. So I usually just go with this guy, even though, like I said, that long of a blade, you don't even need that just walking around, because the knife's not going to just come out and cut you just because both these straps are undone. This is more like if you're carrying it upside down or something, and you want it secure. So, thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bang. Can't get enough rotation. There we go. Finally.